For this panel discussion, I would like to invite our panelists on dais. I would request Puja Agarwal, Head of D2C Growth at Mamaearth, to please join me on dais. Can we have you, ma'am? A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We have amongst us Shantanu, Chauhan, Director of Marketing at Noise. And ladies and gentlemen, moderating this session, we have amongst us Udayan, Walaker, founder of GrowthX. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our panelists. There's this powerhouse session coming for all of you.
Thanks a lot, UD, for doing this. I so much wanted to do a session with UD separately, but UD will be moderating the session. He's the founder of GrowthX. We've been working together for so long, and I just love GrowthX. I've been a part of the community. So, it's a random plug, but thanks a lot for doing this.
Thank you so much, Gautam. No, I think this is fine. I'm just going to get some closer. All right. Hello, Delhi. Hello from Bangalore to Delhi public. Delhi public, I know that we don't have alcohol yet, but can we get some energy over here, right? I'm going to ask you all some questions. I just want to get a sense of the crowd for the panels, and while we have these amazing panels, they'll be able to tune their answers according to who we have. So just get a sense. Raise your hands if you're a founder here. Raise your hand. We just please thoda sa aur yaar matlab. Got it. Okay. Interesting. All right. How many marketing folks here? Very interesting. How many growth/product folks? All right. Oh wow. That's very interesting. All right. Okay. I'm already tweaking my questions, by the way. But super, I am really excited to have these two brilliant folks get very diverse perspectives in. One thing I'm going to promise you from this session is that for the next 30 minutes, I am going to ask them questions like, I don't know anything. I'm going to ask, I'm going to poke. I'm not going to ask them 5 tips. I'm not going to ask them one thing they should do for increasing their revenue. I'm not going to get anything. I want to learn. Right? I'm sure all of you all have come to learn as well. And I'm going to ask all kinds of quote-unquote stupid questions to learn from them. Right? Cool. So let's get started.
Super excited about the stupid questions.
Perfect.
Ladies first.
Yeah. I get asked a lot of questions in my session, so I'm so excited to actually go ahead and start asking all questions. I think we're going to start with a pretty important one. And the way we wanted to structure this conversation, folks, is that we'll start talking about very top of the funnel marketing, starting with top of the mind awareness, right? Then getting inside purchase, repeat purchase, so on and so forth, all right? Starting with TOMA, that's basically top of the mind awareness. Can any of you all, just in one line, tell me what TOMA means for your company?
Yeah, hi guys. So for us, I would say we are in a very growing stage. For us, everything comes down to be a TOMA. To be honest, when you are in a growth market, still there is smartwatch adoptions happening. You don't have a penetration yet, whereas in audio category, you have a certain penetration. So for us, any new customer acquisition comes under the TOMA. Even in the mindset, it's something which we are trying to build out, or creating a need in his life or her life, that is a TOMA for us.
So typically, let's say when you're doing TOMA, and with my experience as well, you want to do it at a frequency that is less than 1 month. Because if I am, I don't remember an app that I used less than once a month, right? I know what I use every day, WhatsApp. I know weekly, I'll probably use Swiggy, or monthly, maybe Cred. But quarterly, yearly is very, my top of the mind awareness goes away. So what are you folks doing at a weekly level for your TOMA?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to give it with a real-time example. We'll try to explain it. If I ask how many women over here are wearing a smartwatch? I asked women. So I think if you see, the ratio is very less as compared to this. So this is a new segment for me, right? The adoption is not too fast just because of the form factor is not same. They don't want a square watch. They want it to be little flimsy, little, it should be glittery or enough, comparatively. like not a square dial or just a round dial or something. So that becomes a need for us, right? We recently launched a campaign completely on women's smartwatches, right? We named it as Shine Collection by Noise. That goes with our value, being it's a noise within which you listen and you're completely made of noise. And that's what a shine comes through. So we started with this campaign, which is Shine Collection by Noise. And we use Tapsi Pannu for the same reason, because she stands for what she is today. And we started targeting on a bigger industry. I'll tell you, yeah.
So for you, essentially what you're saying is for the way to build TOMA for you, especially for a new product and category, is like a bigger launch. How will you sustain it?
Yeah, so I'll just try to give you, I'll just finish that, how we build the entire funnel, okay? We go to Meta, we don't do too much of hard work, honestly. We go to Meta and ask them, okay, the purchases which has happened earlier, when it comes to the women who have purchased, what kind of interest level they have. Not in my in-market segment, but something which then they come up with, they are most likely to buy a lot of BPC category, beauty and personal care, right? So we took such audience, which is who have been a customer for Mamaearth, Ecological.
Does this also include, let's say, purchases of women who've done on your platform, or does it not include any?
No, it includes. It includes, but we try to exclude the customers who have already purchased, because what happens, we can reach them separately. I mean, why do use a Meta ads for that? Like, we should not. Like, WhatsApp is good enough to do that, right? Or something like that. For a new customer acquisition, this is how we approach this problem. We try to target all the users who have been into the BPC category, right? We run ads which are completely on the top of funnel, which talks the emotional value it contains, and we show the watches and the collection which we have. Further to this, the people who have viewed our content, we then further segment them into the performance funnel. So that's how, this is a new one of the segment which I'm talking about. There are several other segments also.
For a new user, let's talk in frequency terms. In terms of ads, what would be the frequency to build that awareness within them?
I think what we have noticed is 5 times is good enough.
5 times a
month? I mean, we don't restrict with the time stay.
Typically, what's a threshold you feel like after 5 in what timeline? Is it weekly?
I think 5 times a month. 4 to 5 times
Yeah,
a month
that's when
is
saying.
when you would say that you are in the
that's the right kind of frequency for awareness consideration.
Correct. I think it depends upon the money you have in the bank. Honestly, we try to play it a little more smarter in a way that we don't restrict it with a week or something like that. It should be on the basis of how the interest level build up. And the frequency does not mean you just do it with the same ad. You can run the sequencing. Right?
I'm going to jump into a lot of creative. But before that, I'm going to go to her and I'm going to ask actually for you. And I want to tweak that question slightly. TOMA for Mamaearth, but specifically for festive time.
Yes. So contrary to what he just mentioned, in personal care, the need already exists. What as a brand we have to ensure is that, let's say if a person is thinking of buying perfume, why should Mamaearth be in the consideration set? That is clearly the problem statement. So we clearly know that when festive comes, there are certain categories such as gifting, makeup, fragrances which spike. So to prepare for festive, 3 months in advance, in August, is when we will start building sharp communications on why Mamaearth. If a person is thinking perfume, why should the person think Mamaearth? This planning happens almost 3 months in advance. That in August, we would start doing this. And a key channel for us to do that is influencer. We clearly see influencer as a channel. We almost do 500 influencers a month as a company. That's like the scale at which we do it. And we clearly, if there is a clear, sharp communication that you give to the influencer, saying that, hey, using a Mamaearth perfume transports me into nature. Let's say that's
I want to touch upon that. You said perfume, and then you also told brand. I want to understand, during festive, are you focusing on the brand game in terms of mindshare, or are you focusing on category? Like specific categories for festive?
Sharper categories. So festive means that there are a lot of brands which want to capture the same consumer's attention. So it is very critical for you to be sharp and focused. So we clearly spike on certain subcategories and use cases where you want to be sure that the user buys you when that purchase happens.
And in terms of like, and this question, and like we can start getting into creative strategy now, because we spoke about like we're targeting them and like on the frequency big, and like, you know, can you tell me like for you, how do you ensure that the person is not being like, please do, if this ad comes again in front of me, I'm gonna like throw my phone, right? That's like the extreme end versus the other time where the good ads, I was like, this product actually looks nice. I want to look at it, or I want to engage with the ad, or at least want to understand what they're trying to say. How do you get to that creative quality lens?
Perfect. I think that's a really good question. We cracked it in a way. So there are two sort of ads which you run on Meta, right? One is completely based on objective of reach and frequency, and then try to do it. We don't run that. We completely go on an in-stream basis, right? We try to manage like what is the largest VTR which we are getting, and we just target them because
can you explain that metric to everyone, please?
Yeah, so it's basically your through plays, right? Through plays are of 15 seconds. So your through plays to your impressions, like what is the kind of percentage which you're getting. So that becomes your VTR.
Why don't you go at reach? Was there an experiment that you did which you said, you know what?
I mean, it's kind of you're reaching into the new segment, right? So you just need to reach the right segment who are actually interested in you.
So this is like a deeper metric for you.
Yes, absolutely. And then
actually, we also ran experiments here, and we also felt the same. If you simply run a reach campaign, it reaches out to fundamentally different set of users. For example, people who are just consuming content. That's like the campaign that they will reach out to. And then when you try to do a conversion campaign on that reach,
it's just not
converting.
But you can do that on like a video. How do you do that on static? What's a deeper engagement to measure on static? Is like other metrics?
I think the world has changed. Like video is the first format.
Very interesting.
Like
so no statics whatsoever.
No, never.
What kind of ratio would you
Our
have?
Performance chala lo. If you really wanted to build everything on static, just run performance. Don't run it on brand. Like you're wasting money on brand then.
Even on performance.
Sorry,
honestly,
if somebody is doing it. So, but yeah,
but no. Static here
this is our learning. This is our business learning. So definitely every business works in a very different way. Our business learning says that for static, because we are in a very growth state. So comparatively, you can run it on performance, whereas video helps you to build the entire story, entire narrative, right? If I wanted to create a need in someone's life, I can't narrate it through a static image itself. I'll go for a video.
As a metric, we have started chasing video percentage as a share of spends, honestly, even in performance. Even to convert a user, we're saying, let's do richer content. Let's just not do static.
On average, what the video frequency needed for consideration to happen, not purchase, but consideration. What have you seen?
Sorry, not measure that, but something what we see once your layer of top funnel where you have a certain views which have already covered more than 70% of your VTR.
So it's more about not number of videos, but percentage covering is what's driving consideration.
Yeah, of course.
And I think principally we try to cap frequencies around 4-5.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think it becomes...
How does this change for you for across channels or maybe ticket sizes? Let's say for a product that is, let's say, 2,000 rupees versus 5,000, is there a difference that you've seen? And what's that difference?
Yeah, definitely. I think I only have that ticket size.
I think for us, the portfolio is
but for you,
$100.
So maybe for y'all, it's infrequent categories to frequent categories, right?
There, I think it's a different strategy on the retention bit, where if I know if a person has bought, let's say, a face wash, it's a frequent replenishment category. After acquisition, we will run much tighter campaigns to ensure the replenishment happens. So we actually do it very data-driven, in a very data-driven manner, where we actually track the average replacement basis data, and we have automated campaigns which go out. However, in an infrequent category, The job is to then get the person excited about some other subcategory or the portfolio for the brand. There, essentially, you treat it as a new user acquisition in some sense, where the frequency will be, again, much higher, because you have to, again, basis data, you can see if somebody has bought a certain category, what is the other affinity that the person has, and hence a much higher frequency.
That's very interesting. You're almost treating a new category acquisition almost like a new user itself.
It's a new user itself.
Because you'll have a different activation journey for them,
Yes.
etc. Got it. Interesting. All right, cool. And sorry for going a little geeky over here, but I just did not want to come here and ask 5 tips. I wanted to come about learning. We've talked about TOMA a little bit. One interesting thing you mentioned is 2 months or 3 months before that you start, right? Is that a similar timeline for you as well?
Definitely. I think we try to strategize in a way that we first run a sale on our D2C because we can't afford the CPM right now. Like, it's going to be very expensive. And we leave the other funnel to get converted on our marketplaces now. So we start almost 2 months back. And before that, we do a lot of launches. This is the whole calendar of electronics works. Whereas August months starts building about the product itself, or building what you wanted to build through your, if you wanted to run a sale on D2C, do it like 1 month before any big billion day or Great Indian Festival.
So during peak festival, you all are actually not bidding as much. Your ad spends are lower, way lower.
So if I explain from a company perspective, so clearly this is a high CPM, expensive times for a person to generate traffic. So on D2C, our own website as well as our own stores, the focus is on existing users and resurrecting dormant buyers. So which is a huge base for us, right? Where you go deep, where you pitch them festive, use their existing data with the right content. New user acquisition is on marketplaces, where there is already a lot of traffic coming to the marketplace. You ensure that you are present in the right search, right banner, etc., so that you become a part of their basket. So single product discounting focus is on marketplaces, and then of course the retail is a different play.
Got it. For your marketplace strategy, and we'll go there before that, at a TOMA level, before we go out of TOMA, at a TOMA level, is there a geo strategy that is different for you? Like north versus south versus east? Or is it for y'all, the category or the product that you're in doesn't really warrant?
No. We have not seen any kind of geo differences. I think it's all about the penetration as a electronics you have. In fact, BDI CDI reports, which comes with any of the Google, if you try to work with, they give you a certain brand index in the category index, that how it is penetrated in something. In fact, we see that the smartwatch penetration is too high for us right now. So we have not seen any kind of an geo issues. We are pan-India present because everyone have wrist, everyone wears smartwatch. And I think the same goes for the headphones, because you're consuming content. Right. You need headphones. So I think the category penetration is there. The brand penetration is something it's dependent on you. Understood. So yeah, that's all I can do.
For us, it depends on the stage of brands. For example, for Mamaearth, it is a clear geo strategy where for TOMA, TV becomes important in tier 2, 3 and beyond. Vis-a-vis on digital, we'll do pan-India. We will ensure that there is a reach in any relevant cohort. For the newer brands, the metro cities become more important, where you have to get the first set of adopters for the brand. So I think it's more brand stage driven than anything else for us.
Very interesting. All right, I think we're done with around TOMA and how do you get like some mind share in. What I want to actually jump a lot more into now is, let's say the first purchase has happened, right? Let's talk about what are you folks doing in terms of, let's say, category increase. Let's say I'm using earphones to, let's say, smartwatches. Let's say for you, it's a supplementary product. How does that look for you as a focus? Is it frequency of purchase? Is it breadth of category? Or is it increasing, let's say if I'm buying a headphones of 2,000, making it to 5,000 rupees. What's the core focus for an existing user? Is it breadth, depth, or frequency?
Okay. I'll just try to divide. When someone buys a smartwatch, we also have an app ecosystem with it, right? Our entire journey starts from there, that what kind of experience we are going to give over there. We have a lot more engaging content we don't sell over there at all. Like, there is an option that if you wanted to buy some other product, but we don't force them. They're an engagement option of like, you got a challenges, you got a lot more fitness talks about, and there is a whole community of people, sharing about their fitness journeys and the status and everything, right? That eventually, whenever any kind of a sale comes or any kind of an offer comes or a new launch comes, that automatically get notified to these people. So my retention is anyway sorted with this sort of engagement to the retention, but we don't
because
force.
your products are very supplementary, like the subcategories?
Uh, yes, I think we are building that. We are building that ecosystem yet.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
That's an intention.
Yeah. So what is noise? So noise is democratizing connected tech lifestyle in India. Now we're trying to do it in the world. So I think this is what is our vision is. So I think the connected lifestyle becomes the core. We recently launched a smart ring also, which is Luna. Again, a future which is going to happen. Lot more people wanted to, adapt that particular thing. Still expensive for India, but soon we'll have
Subcategory expansion is very much in the same ecosystem.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Understood. For y'all?
I would say for us, frequency and depth both are important. Frequency primarily because as a personal care, it's a very high replenishment category. So you have to ensure that the replenishment happens. I think the second part, which is depth, we are working on that as a company, where now we have a huge portfolio of multiple subcategories, but we are learning how to get the person excited. Primarily, I think from a retention perspective, there are two levers. One is the frequency, where as a brand, I think we've been there where we've heard from the user that you're literally bombarding me because we were not listening as much. So the journey has been there of figuring out the right frequency. For a certain cohort, it could be once a week. For a certain cohort, it could literally be once a month. Don't bother me more than that.
Does the channel change for you? For example, the first time purchase versus the frequency or the replenishment.
Yes.
Are those channels different?
Absolutely. So acquisition largely is more push-driven, where we have the Meta and the Google of the world. However, retention repeat is more WhatsApp and SMS for us. SMS is almost gone, so largely WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a core channel for retention. And hence on WhatsApp, we've been really experimenting to figure out the right frequency into the right content. I think content is key, where you have to figure out the content which is relevant and value adding to the user. So a lot of experiments on that front to personalize.
Any unobvious mistakes on creative strategy on WhatsApp? Because I feel like in general, creative is so hard to crack on WhatsApp. Like, and like, some people are just like, we'll not do any creative. We'll just make it textually, good looking or whatever. But like, I want to understand any unobvious learnings at a message level.
I think the fundamental thing that we're trying to change is, at one point, if a user would come to the website and drop off, as a brand, we would say, ye lo 5%. अच्छा 5% भी नहीं चाहिए, ये लो 10%, नहीं, here is 20%.
100%.
100%. लो buy one get one is like the final.
Yeah. कुछ खरीद के जाना, already I've paid Meta to come here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was the typically stack, and we were very proud of that. कि हमारी journeys हैं, हमने optimize किए. Now increasingly, I think especially in the last 1 year, we are realizing if the person has dropped off, let's really try to understand what happened. For example, in a brand like Derma company, which is about actives ingredient, आप नया cinnamide लगाओ, आपका ये problem solve होगा, etc. Can we really have a richer conversation and help the person select the right product? And that is, I think, the journey on the content side that we're building.
Is that going towards education?
Absolutely. So we as a brand now want to add more value in terms of either figuring out the right regime for the buyer, the right stack of products to buy. If you've bought it in the past, as D2C, we get all the data in the world, but Correct. Are we really listening to the user? I think is the question from a content perspective.
Interesting. Yeah, I think, okay, so I have like one quick question to all of you all. Festivities, and we'll get into now frequency, but like specifically with festivities, how many of you all have, tried a new brand purely because of a festive offer? Can you raise your hands, please? Very interesting.
Really want to get them excited first.
Yeah, no, 100%. Can you all tell me what is the percentage of, let's say, new user acquisition that happens as a percentage of the year during seasonal festivities for you? Like a rough percentage. Minority, majority.
30%, 30-40% for us.
That's substantial.
For
1 month.
us, the new user are higher comparatively. So,
Okay, majority.
yeah, because कोई एक बार watch लेता है तो कम से कम 2 साल तो लगते हैं उसको change करने में. तो I think for us it is much more higher.
So
I think
like,
electronics spike up
Yeah,
more
yeah.
during festive.
Right.
For us, it's like a year-long thing. But still,
I've
I
seen
think
70%
30-40%.
so then for you though, it's even more important to absolutely hit a 6 during the season.
Absolutely. I think we start working like 2 months prior on this and completely on this basis. In fact, just before the sales, we have created a list of hygienes, just before the sales, not on the day of sales. वो सब हो जाएगा. The before the sale is most important hygiene. Like how much traffic are you driving to the particular product, SKU, AiSense, all across, right? How many add to carts are happening before the sale? That becomes the primary matrix. Over there, you can't see ACOS, right? And then eventually on the day, the whole results comes out, right? So I think, and also product reviews kaise ja rahe hain aapke, right? Because before the purchase, people tend to see all the YouTube reviews. That's one of the touch points, right? And similarly, how well you're placed, let's say, on a places like Telegrams and all that places, just
Can you
before
tell
the
me like a
sales.
competitive strategy tweak between, let's say, marketplace versus quick com? Like, I'm assuming you folks are also on quick com,
Yeah.
right? So what's the like competitive strategy like? Because it's at the
I
end
think
of preference.
both places have a very different area to play. I'll tell you, we got an amazing spike on Raksha Bandhan, Father's Day, Mother's Day.
E-commerce.
You know the reason, right? These are last-minute gift options that the people try to buy it during that time.
Right.
Whereas
no
Amazon,
one's a good son. No one's a good.
they
No
tend
one's
to buy
thinking
and
long term. Yeah.
we are taking advantage.
Yeah.
So now, whereas Amazon and Flipkart becomes the obvious choices during this season, right? Why would I choose some other platform? It is about the trust which which I've already built and they've been building for the years. So you need to use every platform with a different strategy, what they're good at, and try to bang on over there.
Very
So
interesting.
I think,
I have a genuine question. I'm assuming because Amazon is more planned and quick commerce is more unplanned, I am like willing to like not be okay with a discount on a quick
Yes.
commerce platform
The
versus
discount sensitivity is much lower on quick commerce. Our
Very
average
interesting.
discounts are much lower, but the sales are growing. And on quick commerce, I think there are two things. One, of course, as we were discussing before the session, you have to get your inventory right, which means you have to get in with the right portfolio. You can't push everything in on quick commerce and hope sales will happen. You have to actually do geo level sensitivity.
he has like a crazy insight. He's like, wait, I know. Like-
I mean, on Mother's Day, if your inventory is full of men's smartwatches, sorry, you lost it. So I think this is very much important that how strategically you're placed over there. And you have to get in touch with the cams. You have to
Yeah.
get in touch with the marketing folks over there and try to be placed yourself up.
And
I
some
think
very unique things sell on quick commerce. For example, for us, there are perfume pack of 2 sets, trial packs, which just sell so much on quick commerce and nowhere else. So you could really build very interesting use cases.
I think assortment is a key over there.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I understood one is like discounting percentages are like, can be very normal. Ticket size also is what I heard from you, which is like samplers. Are they typically lesser priced?
Yes, lesser priced samplers.
For you, does that reflect in,
I can't give a sample for
no,
sure.
not sampling, but let's say
in
for
terms
you,
of
would
what
you say that a lower ticket size earphone
Yes.
is getting purchased more than,
I think, yeah, it happens, right? You have a entry segment, you always have a medium segment, you have a premium segment, right? It's everywhere. There will be 80% of the crowd going for the entry segment. There will be a certain percentage, OnePlus sort of users will be going for the medium and the premium. So you will always have the similar kind of a behavior everywhere.
got it.
Because it's India.
I'm getting like this thing in my mind, ki yaar, if obviously discounting is a core part of commerce. I have a question for you. How do you ensure that you're discounting, but are you doing blind discounting? Or like, what is the math and logic behind discounting for you?
So in discounting, there are two things. One, as a company, we have a differentiated portfolio strategy. So on D2C, we will discount deep on kits, combos, larger bundles. On e-commerce, we would go deep on single SKUs, because it's a basket purchase and you would want the person to get your brand product as a part of the basket. The second thing that we've really done a lot of modeling is to figure out sensitivity of discounts, where doing a plus minus 5 pp leads to percentage points on discount leads to what revenue sensitivity. I think we really do it in and out.
Is that for like a product level or a channel level? Because that sample size is going to be very different, right?
Channel into product.
Channel into.
First of all, there's a different portfolio strategy, and hence you focus on those packs on that platform, and then within that you figure out sensitivities to figure out where do you maximize in terms of your overall discount into revenue.
Can you tell me, like, in terms of discounting sensitivity, owned stores versus marketplace versus quick com, how would you rank like them in the highest to lowest order? Let's say highest discounting to lowest discounting from a consumer point of view, not from a strategy point of view.
Absolutely. Marketplace, quick commerce, own store. Least sensitivity is own store, where a person has already walked in, has already the intention to browse or purchase a brand. Then you also have an assisted seller from the brand trying to explain the product. So least sensitivity, I would say. Where even just giving some free samples to the user from the brand cuts the mark.
Versus marketplace is cutthroat.
Marketplace is the most sensitive because there are a lot of competition brands out there and you have to be competitive. So doesn't matter if you offer a better shampoo to the user, if there is a L'Oreal giving a 50% off during festive, you have to match it. There is no other way for you to be competitive.
Interesting. What about for you folks?
For us, price parity matters a lot. Like, we can't do the differentiation, that's for sure.
Is that because your offline partners have a larger pushback or something?
No, so we have a different portfolio for them.
Okay, so portfolio itself is different.
Yeah.
Same for us, for offline. It's a very different portfolio.
So you can't
What is the difference in the portfolio? Is it size? Is it, what
smaller,
is it?
For us, smaller packs.
Smaller
packs. A 50 ml face wash in offline, 100 ml on Amazon, and let's say a 150 on website. That's like the stack.
Interesting. For you folks?
Names.
I
think more of, I would say that there are certain requirements when it comes to offline. There's certain sort of segment which try to have a certain features.
Example of a segment?
Yeah.
Example of a product?
Yeah.
And if Geo, you said already it's not applicable. So product and segment.
Okay, I'll try to break it in this way. Let's say if there are certain product which are available on all marketplaces, all offline. Let's say Pro 5.
Okay.
Like ColorFit Pro 5, it's our highest selling premium smartwatch, right? And then that will be available with a similar price all across the channels, right? Then you have an entry level. In the entry level, why? Because these are the users who would like to choose.
But that's online and offline both, right?
Yeah.
So where's the difference? What is the difference in the offline? Is it margin given?
So I'll tell you why. Because we don't operate right now. We don't have a COCO model or like our own stores. We work with the national distributors, and definitely, so they run on their prices. Something we don't. We definitely, you have a operating price.
Harder to dictate.
That's completely on them, completely. And the similar goes to the marketplaces also. Like, we are not a seller on Amazon or Flipkart. Amazon and Flipkart does that by themselves.
I want to get to the final section of today's conversation, primarily on just numbers. Obviously, you cannot look at data and be like, okay, let's take an action that will fundamentally change the direction of my sale right now. But there can be some things that you can do as part of leading indicators. What are top leading indicators for you, and what actions do they tell you? Meaning, if it's going positive, what is the action you take? If it's going negative, what is the action you take? When the sale is live, or let's say during the season period, when the sale is happening.
Okay, let me go top down. From a brand perspective, one key metric is search, where in the categories where we want to go big this season, there needs to be some early tailwinds where the search needs to be spiking. Sometimes it happens in certain geographies, but like an overall positive trend on search.
Search is a leading indicator.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Because we start marketing much in advance. So
Got
at
it.
least some tailwinds to
Let's
say
say
that
if it's not going up, what would you change? Would you change creative, frequency? What would you change?
we would really question the overall marketing mix in terms of spends. Are we spending right in terms of the category requirement?
Got
What mix of spends are happening on Meta versus influencers, and try to change that to see
That
if that
is a
helps
larger-
gain better
Okay.
consideration.
So search is the first. What's the second leading indicator?
On the top of the funnel, the second would be the engagement with the brand, which means 2 or 3 things for us. One is generally the engagement with the influencer content and the kind of feedback that we get from the influencer.
What kind of feedback do you get from influencers? I'm actually very curious. Like, what's the kind of things that they would say? Because they're not like a dashboard.
Yeah. But we do track the metrics. So when an influencer posts, we track the engagement on that post. We track the number of comments, the sentiment of the comments. Some people actually also buy right after the influencer recommendation, and they actually reach out to the influencer if they don't like the product. So there is a very healthy feedback funnel which happens on the influencer if you work very closely with them.
If there is ever a negative feedback loop, is it mostly because of the pitch, the creative, like the way the story was?
The product. For
the
us, it's the product.
It's the
where,
product.
where we would really take that feedback and we keep iterating. Like as a company, I'm sure if the first product might not be the best that you launch, and online the cost of launch is also very lower. So you launch fast, you iterate and build faster.
This is great. So search, then influencer feedback.
Engagement
and
on the brand.
And then
that
third,
engagement on D2C translates to visits. So there needs to be we call it a BAU. Your daily average numbers need to grow up, which means that you're building enough consideration. Typically, there is a BAU to sale multiplier that you will get. So if you're doing, let's say, a lakh or 10 lakhs in your BAU, there is like a 7x or a 10x multiplier if you put up a sale on the website, or if you try to go deep in terms of discounting. Similarly, on marketplaces, it reflects in your add to carts and your visits to your page.
Correct.
So there needs to be a higher number of visits and add to carts happening, which all of these indicate there is a growing interest in the product, and then you go deeper on discount and convert them.
Interesting. Okay, this is super helpful. Thank you so much for that detailed answer. I want to ask you, but I want to start with the negative. What is like a metric if it's going down? You're like, bhai, we fucked up somewhere.
Yeah, I think add to cart, I would say. Why? Because that you're talking about just before the festive.
I'm
correct?
talking about the build up to the festival. So you know you're doing a bunch of things, and there are some leading indicators. It's not festive time yet.
Yeah.
But there are leading indicators for you to know ki bhai, what I'm doing, it's going in the right direction.
I think add to cart, just leading indicators,
People
especially
would
just
add to
before
cart
the,
way before even the season starts.
Even the season starts. Now, when you talk way before, the way before is not in months. It's usually in weeks. So you get to know so you can also see that when is the intrigue promotion starting with, like when is Amazon started promoting or when is Flipkart started promoting. And then from there onwards, you see the add to cart number, right? Logically, because people started ki theek hai, jab main sale aayegi tab main kharidunga. So from that point of view, you start working on. Yeah.
Got it.
I think I would add your BAU numbers, like the non-sale numbers that you're able to do, at least for us. If we see a little bit of stress there, it's really
It's like
early
red flag.
sign of-
Like war
Yeah, I
room
think,
time.
Yeah.
Your
Got it.
DRR is important, like
Yeah.
daily run rate, like how it is happening. That's like an indicator, definitely. But from a festive point of view, I feel like where you start making decisions, especially, okay, this is not working, there's something wrong is you might face. So I think this is what we found.
Understood. All right, cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly summarize the entire session, try to. And then we're going to open up for like any questions we have. We've already covered 30 minutes. We're going to try. I think we started with TOMA. I think great insights on TOMA. My core takeaway for TOMA was that education-led TOMA is probably the more sustainable way of doing TOMA. I see a lot of electronics brands also do get into a lot of education. And it's great that you folks are also getting into it. One core takeaway after the first purchase is about frequency and category. What's very insightful with Noise is that their product strategy drives that breadth. It's not marketing that's driving breadth, but the fact that they're building an ecosystem. It's an intentful product roadmap which is driving the breadth. I think it's a little similar to Apple, where let's say each product is designed to work with each other a lot more, right? For you folks, it's pretty much frequency, which is more replenishment, which is very interesting. One core takeaway on the frequency and replenishment, especially from brands that have like a monthly, this thing is deeper engagement on owned channels, like especially with even WhatsApp, where you can't do the same thing that you can do on Instagram. That's why you need to educate, I'm assuming. Yes. And then finally, we spoke about leading and lagging metrics. Primarily on leading, whatever you're doing, let's say 2 months before, ensure that it's showing some kind of interest. Interest can be quantitative with like search volume, or qualitative from an influencer saying, bro, what the hell, like my followers are coming and bashing me. Or it can be a lot more transactional or very straightforward with like Noise, where it's very add to cart focused, where that's like the best metric to tell, hey, are we really going forward or not? But yeah, I think phenomenal session. Please give it a round of applause for all of these folks for sharing insights. We can take maybe one question. I think we just have a question for one. All right. Please. Yes.
I think we have 4.
Yeah. We got 4 people to take
We've got
questions.
4 questions, yeah.
Yeah, we can take 2 questions.
Hi, good evening panel. So my name is Sanchit. Basically, I am the co-founder for Social Total. We are a content marketing agency and an influencer marketing agency. So my question to you, like both of the founders, like Puja and Sir, so is like you said that the statics are not more captivating as the motion content, basically the video content. So was it in context to WhatsApp as the marketing channel, or was it in a generic terms, like being the platform?
I was referring to Meta,
Okay.
where most of the ad spends happen. On WhatsApp, I think statics continue to work. On WhatsApp, the content is the king right now, where you have to get the right kind of messaging for the person to even open it, click it, and engage with you. Video is the format we're moving on Meta actively. Video includes even brand campaigns and partnership ads, so the BCAs of the world.
Just like question, would like to have a view of yourself. Like, do you think is it the content or is it the hook of the content which is important? Like the type of content or the hook of the content? Because according to me, it's the hook of the content.
I think I can summarize this in a way. First, define your objective. Okay? What I meant was this, I'll give you 2 examples. Let's say we were celebrating Mother's Day, right? The entire objective was to create an engagement. We created an engagement in a way where the whole content was thrown to a user like a mom speaking to a son or mom speaking to a daughter. You know, uth jao, kya subah ho gayi? Like, we created such content. So there you create a engagement metrics. You don't chase the conversion metrics. Whereas something which Puja also mentioned about, that how you are actually, you know that the best CTR comes when you have the best offer running come in, right? Ultimately, so your objective need to be defined. And then you design a content. Now, how you can communicate either through a content messaging or you have some crazy image or static idea which you can think of, it will work. So I think it should drive from the objective. That's what I feel.
Maybe a carousel in terms of...
Anything. Like, what is the best format for that objective? I think that's what you need to chase for.
Thank you.
Awesome. We can take the
Sorry,
second
if
question.
I may just add here, there's a very interesting learning we had recently. So if you run a video on Meta, let's say your average VTR at 15 seconds is 70%. 70% Janta watch the video for 15 seconds.
Okay.
Actually, sorry, 70% of the Janta watch the video for 5 seconds, but that VTR drops to 10-20% even after a few seconds.
Correct.
So essentially the attention span of like our generation.
It's not
so
just
to say.
hook, basically.
Yeah, the attention span is 3 to 5 seconds. So as a brand, we are really learning to get the message delivered in the first few seconds. Otherwise, you've lost the user.
Correct. Awesome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you, sir, first of all, for such a wonderful and enriching session. My question is to both of you, Puja and Shantanu. So the question is, since you are now an established brands, you are representing an established brands, so where exactly you focus on these three matrices, or how do you strategize your plan of action, which is on new acquisition, retention, and market share? Thank you.
We can probably choose
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
because
I
that's
can-
like that's a session. Can we prioritize one?
Indeed, it is
ये
a
मतलब
session.
पूरा funnel था ये तो, but हाँ, but
Yeah.
थोड़ा सा
Just wanted to get the top of it. Top
हाँ,
of the
I
mind.
think
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen journey from zero, so I've been with noise from day one, so I can tell you, like, seen all the phases in life. In today's time, one of the problem which we're trying to solve was, कि यार, as a market leader, either you think of creating a new segment, which is your new customer acquisitions, right? As a market leader, you also need to sustain your audience, which is your retention comparatively, right? Which we are doing through an app ecosystem, which we already have. And then when you talk about the market share, I think, again, the market share and the first question which you ask about the new customer acquisition is very coefficient of both of them, right? So I think what I talked about in the starting that, okay, today women are not wearing a smartwatch. Or there are still a lot of users who are preferring to have an analog smartwatch first, right? Or there are still users who love wired headphones. They don't want to have a TWS. So we really need to work on building this category right now. And then it opens up my new customer acquisition, which is your first part, and also improve my market share. So that's what we are trying to chase for.
Yeah, I think same for us. Early on in the journey, 90% of the focus was new user acquisition. Maybe 10% was on retention. Now in the brand's journey with a large base of users who've already tried the brand, it is still 50-50. I would not say that new user acquisition is not a priority anymore, because we are still 4% of the share in like the best of the categories, and hence it's 50-50 now, where we have to figure out categories where we acquire and certain subcategories where we focus on retention more.
Super, awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for giving us
Thank you
the
so
time.
much
Thank
for
you.